You ever have one of those nights where you just want to disappear, mop a few floors, and fade into the background, but instead your past comes crashing in so loud it leaves a whole room full of people in stunned silence? Yeah, that happened. The night started like any other. Me, Brandon Lewis, just mopping up sweat at Elite Martial Arts, wishing I could stay invisible, when Daniel Mitchell, the golden boy with the black belt, shouts out, "Hey, Janitor, what do you say to a little spar?" You know what I mean? The kind of tone that's supposed to make everyone laugh at you, not with you. I just kept my eyes on the floor, but Daniel wasn't letting up. I bet you've never even seen a real fight. Have you? I wanted to ignore him. Really, I did. But the whole class was watching. Some snickered, some looked away. A few even shifted like they felt bad, but nobody said a word. That's how it goes, folks. We'll watch a man get kicked and keep quiet if the guy doing the kicking's got a title around his waist. I stayed polite, tried to keep my dignity, told him I wasn't here to fight, just to finish my work. Daniel only laughed louder, called me scared, said I'd never set foot on a mat. Funny thing is, he wasn't entirely wrong. It had been a long, long time since I'd let myself near one. But as his voice dripped with that old sneer, the same I'd heard in smoky gyms and roaring arenas, back when my name meant something, I could feel the storm building inside me. 20 years I'd spent hiding from it. The last time I let it out, someone I loved never got back up. I'd promised myself never again. Still, when Daniel got up close enough that I could smell the sweat on his uniform, I looked him dead in the eye and asked him to leave me be. The look on his face, you'd have thought I spit on his shoes. He raised his voice, put on a show for the students to see. Some people are born to fight. Some are born to clean. And let me tell you, every word stung. Not because it was true, but because it was the same garbage I'd let myself believe after that night in Vegas, 20 years back. Back then, folks called me the Silent Storm. 5 titles, undefeated, cold as ice in the cage. But you know what arrogance gets you? Gets you a best friend, your own brother, lying still on the mat because you lost your temper for a second. That was Tony. I saw his eyes close that day, and something in me died too. So when Daniel started up with the old racial digs, throwing words like "you're kind" and "people like you" around, I just clenched the mop tighter, every muscle aching to strike back. Emily Chun, Daniel's star pupil, glanced my way. I could see in her eyes she knew this was wrong, but the fear of standing up to her idol was stronger than her voice. That's how it goes. The silence can be heavier than any blow. Daniel wouldn't let up, kept daring me, pushing and poking, until finally he stepped right up, gave me a little shove, and said, "Come on, prove you're not just here to bow your head." That line, man, it cracked something inside me. The gym went dead quiet. All I could hear was my heart pounding. For a split second, I saw Tony lying there again, blood on the mat, my own fists shaking. I knew if I snapped, I could lose myself all over again. Or I could take a stand, right now, not just for me, but for every kid who'd ever been called less. So I set down the mop. I squared my shoulders, looked Daniel in the eye, and said, "You really want this, Daniel?" He smirked, the whole class watching, waiting for me to fold. Instead, I told him if I won, he'd owe every student here an apology for the way he acted, for turning a place of respect into his own stage. That caught him off guard. But pride makes fools of us all, and he agreed. When I stepped onto the mat, the looks I got, some mocking, some shocked, a few with dawning respect, they reminded me why I'd stayed away. But then I peeled off my old jacket, let everyone see the scars, the muscle memory that doesn't fade after 20 years. Even Daniel's swagger faltered for a second. Then he went back to sneering, telling the class not to be fooled. Strength takes sacrifice. I wouldn't understand. Bell rings. Daniel comes at me wild, throwing everything he's got, fury in every strike. But I wasn't there to hurt him, just to prove a point. So I dodged, every move careful, measured. The class started to murmur. Daniel got angrier, faster, but I saw every punch before it landed. You don't forget survival like that. The more he missed, the more desperate he got, until finally I stopped, told him he should quit before he lost everyone's respect. He roared, swung with everything he had, but missed by a mile. Emily, bless her, finally called out from the sidelines, "Don't let him beat you, Brandon." That snapped me out of the old memory, reminded me why I was there. Not for revenge, but to end this right. Daniel came for one last strike. I sidestepped, swept him to the mat in a single motion, the whole gym holding its breath. He hit the floor hard. The silence after was deafening. I could have walked away then, but I offered him my hand. Martial arts isn't for bullies, Daniel. It's about respect. He took it. For the first time, his voice shook. He apologized to every student, to me. Some of them even asked me to be their coach, never thought I'd hear that again. That night changed everything. The gym's whole spirit shifted. Daniel's classes emptied out. Mine filled up. Kids came not just to learn how to fight, but how to respect themselves and others. Daniel, meanwhile, found himself alone, realizing just how much pride it cost him. Eventually, he rebuilt himself, humbler, more human. One day he even thanked me, but I told him it was his own courage that saved him, not me. You know, sometimes the real battle isn't in the ring. It's with the man in the mirror. That's what I try to teach every kid now. The greatest victory isn't beating somebody else. It's mastering your own demons, your own pride, your own fear. I'm not the silent storm anymore. I'm just a man who finally learned that strength isn't about knocking someone down, but helping them stand back up. So let me ask you, do you think real power comes from winning fights or from learning to respect and forgive? Have you ever faced a moment where you had to conquer yourself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story meant something to you, share it, hit like, and subscribe for more real stories that might just change how you see the world. See you in the next round.